Hey, welcome back to the table. So we're gonna get in at least the enemy's turn. I have a very short window of time to record here, but I would like to at least get the first full turn complete before I take my next break between videos. And as I noted, you draw one card from each of the enemy combat decks, which we only have two types of enemies in this game. We have the Ronin Scouts, which is this little guy here, right? And there's 5 of them. And then we have an enemy frigate, which is that big guy in the end there. So before I reveal these and resolve them, I want to real quick go over the anatomy of the AI card. So let's come back over here. So we very quickly went through this, and you can see that they have a whole strength of 8, but then we added 3 more because we're playing on the difficult level of Abyss. So it became 11, and hence the reason you see the 10 plus the 1. Okay, and then the shield strength is 6, which then became a 9 for the same reason. So they are immune to target lock. So they have immunities listed here, and that little symbol there is target lock. And once again, you can figure out what target lock is because it will show you right here on your little symbol. And while this is helpful, you do need to go to page 22 in the rule book to get like a true text description of what each of these things mean. So when you're playing your first game, you're going to probably slow down a little bit and have to bog down as you start to learn what these different symbols are and what exactly they mean. There is no target lock in this case. One thing that I was tempted to do is with Violet Ray, you may recall we did a basic attack, and I could have done Proton Blast, which would have radar jammed them. And that radar jam, I think, would have been really handy right now because we didn't kill number 6. He stayed alive. He's down to 1 hit point. I mean, we just needed 1 more hit on that guy. And we already talked about how he would have been long since dead if we would have played in normal difficulty. So already you can see how the higher difficulty level is making an impact. So this guy is going to get a chance to hit us, and he likely will, considering where he's at. And I'm really nervous about this because he gets +4 damage to his attack at the difficulty level we're doing. And you can see here that the damage that he normally does is 3. 3 damage is not a big deal. You can absorb a 3 damage hit a couple of times with almost every one of these starting ships. A 7 damage attack is a whole different story. That is a massive amount of damage. And, because I just said 3 a couple of times. Well, now 7 is that times 2, plus a little bit more even. And so you really cannot absorb more than 2 hits. I think you can absorb a hit once. And then after that, you're in trouble. So we have a lot of enemies out here. And like I said, I may have bit off more than I could chew. I can tell you that under normal mode, this is almost too easy for me and my son when we finally got the hang of this game. So I'm trying to beef it up for the purposes of this video, just to try to show, how to get it done. I may have done it too much. So anyways, I don't mean to belabor that point. I'm just stressing it again that this number 6 guy would be dead in a normal game. And he's not, and now he's going to light one of us up hard. And I'm really nervous about that. So let's go ahead and show how that happens. And let's get this turn resolved so we can move on to the next. But you got the basic idea. And then, of course, these little spots here are for the red cubes. So if he was target locked, for example, I would put that there. Or if he was radar jammed, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so let me put this back. These little boards are really nice. I really do like them. I think they are a huge improvement over the way Gloomhaven managed things. I do recommend it. There's a lot about this game to like. So as much as I was saying, hey, it's too easy here, or it's too easy there, there's a lot to like. And even with it being semi-easy in normal mode, I still like it. Anyways, here we go. So you put these in order. We do the lowest number first. So the scout's going to go first. They have the the better initiative. It's the lower number, but that's considered a higher initiative. So let's reveal it. So this is the AI that is going to happen for all 5 of them. And we're going to start with the lowest numbered one first and then go up. And what you do is you start at the bottom here and you follow this little AI chart. So what it's basically saying is it's going to rotate, it's going to fire, and then if it actually, it's going to try to fire. If it really did fire, you go up to the yes path, and then it's going to move. If it did not fire, then it's going to go down the no path, it'll move, it'll rotate again, and then it'll try to fire one second time. So what does firing and move mean? Well, you can see it up here. The move action is that if he's facing, we're going to say the word north, right? If he's facing up, he will move to the right and then to the right again, and then he will rotate facing northwest, okay? So if he were to fire, he's going to try to fire in this type of pattern here. He's going to try to hit anything 3 spaces ahead of him or 2 spaces off to the side, and he does shoot at only 1 target. That's what that means. But he will do +1 damage. So that means he's going to do 8 damage instead of 7. Because remember, he does a base of 3. We just showed that. Well, actually, no. These are scouts. These aren't. I showed you the frigate last time. This is a scout. The scout does a base of 2. We add 4 to it. That's 6. And then this will add +1 more. So that means it'll be 7 damage that this guy will do, which is a devastating amount. I would have to say that the hard mode, the hardest part about hard mode is the +4 damage. Everything else I think is fair, like giving them more hit points, stuff like that. But giving them this +4 damage is the part that is really difficult. Anyways, here we go. So first thing we do is we find the lowest numbered one, and that's this guy here, number 1. We have to check, does he have any status effects? He does. He is stunned. And you can see that right there, that little red cube. So what stunned means is he can't fire. Like, this won't happen, ever. So what he's going to do is he's going to do this. He won't be able to do anything here, and then he'll do this, and then he won't be able to do anything there. That's what stunned does. And by the way, if he's slowed, which is the opposite of stunned, he would do this and this, but then he can't do this, but he could still do this and this. So slow just means he can't do this action, and stunned means he can't do that one. Okay, so this guy is stunned. And so looking at him, and I'm going to put this card here. Hopefully you could still see it well enough. First thing he's going to do is, before you even do this, at every step along the way, he finds a target. And remember, on the last video, I said that the target is closest person, then highest hull points, and then player choice. We're breaking ties there, right? So the closest person to him is clearly this one. Now, he would try to target A, but he's closer than A. So he's going to go after A. The sparrow is not targetable in this one, so we don't have to worry about the sparrow. But again, there's nothing closer than him, which is Giardian, right? So Giardian is there, and of course he's going to target him. So first thing he wants to do is rotate towards his target. So now this can be a potential for debate in some people, but if you've played Gloomhaven, this is pretty solvable because it's just Gloomhaven rules. So clearly he can't rotate in a way where he's directly facing him. He has to either face this way or face that way, right? This situation probably is common sense for you, but I am 2 spaces away going this way, but I'm only 1 space away going that way. So what we do is we always rotate him to the direction that has the most spaces. So when you have to choose between 2, then you pick the one that is the longest length. So so he would rotate like that. And then he would try to fire, which he would do 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, and 1, 2. He actually would light me up right now. And you can see that here, right? If you look at it, that would for sure hit me. So the rotation and the hit would definitely happen, except for the fact that he's stunned. So we have to skip that. So he doesn't do that, and now he's going to do this movement thing where he's going to go right, and then rotate left. Well, for that means he's going to go right, and then he's going to rotate 1 to the left. And you have to, everything is about relativity. So if he's oriented this way, he will move right based on where he's oriented. So in this case, he was actually oriented this way, and that's the reason why he moved up the map like he did. And then after he moves up the map, he would rotate and be facing towards the southwest part of the map, right? And so if you come back to this, you will see exactly that. All right, so then once he does that, he will try to rotate again, but he doesn't need to. He's already facing me perfectly, in fact. So there will be no rotation. And then he will try to shoot, which again, he would have hit me, but he's stunned, so nothing happens. So his turn is over, and then we take the stun marker away. And I did a horrible job. That's why I'm not on a basketball team and I'm instead doing a YouTube channel. Okay, so next we go to number 2, which is over here. And the fact that he's elite doesn't change anything other than the fact that he does 3 base damage and he's immune to hull breach, which I don't think we even have the ability to do. So this guy, again, he's going to try to find a target. And remember I said that they try to find a target every step of the way. In that last example, the target was the same every time. So I didn't go step by step through re-identifying targets. I was the closest target no matter where he was in his process. In this case, it might change, and we might see that here. So, for example, he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces away from Violet, or from Andrew, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces away from JB. So the part about this here is that now I got to check their hull. So JB has only 2 hull, and so Andrew's going to be the target, which is going to be this guy. All right, so first thing he's going to do is rotate. And again, Andrew's in a position where you can't directly face him. Andrew is only 1 in this direction, but 1, 2, 3, 4 in that direction. So the rotation will stay exactly the way it is. He's going to stay facing south. So then he will try to fire. And he shoots 3 spaces ahead, and then 2 spaces and 2 spaces. And so that misses. Then he will move. And his move is he's going to move to the right 2 spaces. Well, for him, he's going to move 1 to the right, and then he can't move anymore. So he just does as much as possible. And then he's going to rotate 1 to the left as part of that movement. And so he will do the rotation, even though he can't do the final movement. So that's the way he's facing. So then after that, he will try to rotate again to his target. So Andrew is still going to be the target in this case. So it's not going to change. Had he gotten closer to JB, then JB would have become the target. So that's what I mean by they always acquire a new target every step of the way. So from this point, now he would shoot, which would go 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 1, 2, right? So it's going to hit this range here. And again, there's nothing to shoot. So the AI moved around a little bit, but he didn't actually shoot anything. So we averted that disaster there. So now we move to 3. 3 is also stunned. And his target this is an interesting one. This has 40 hull points. And it's 2 spaces away, and then I'm also 2 spaces away. But since this has more hull points, he's going to target the satellite. So the first thing he does is he will rotate to the satellite. And let's put this in here so you could still see. And then he tries to shoot. He can't. And then he will move, and so he will go 1, 2 to the right, rotate 1 to the left. And then he will rotate again, but there's nowhere to rotate. He is already facing his target. He would try to acquire a new target, but again, A is still the target. And then he would shoot, but because he's stunned, he can't. So now I'm going to remove the stun marker because his turn's over. So, so the stun did its job. And I can't stress enough, like if you're playing this game, that EMP blast is critical for this first mission. And I think that's the number one thing the developer's trying to teach you is to use that EMP blast to stun these guys. Okay, then we move to 5. Now, as you know, we can get a little quicker here because we know 5, all we have to do is figure out who he's targeting. It's going to be the satellite because you can see the satellite right here and you can't see anybody else in the view. So then it's just a matter of, okay, which way is he rotating? Well, the satellite is 1, 2 this way, and it's 1, 2, 3 that way, so he's going to stay rotated this way. And then again, he's going to move 2 to the right, 1, 2, and then as part of that movement, he rotates this way. But then the next step after that is to rotate, so he will rotate again and also point at A. But this time he can shoot, because he can shoot 3 spaces. So 1, 2, 3. If I move the camera a little bit more for you, you can see 1, 2, 3. Remember, nothing blocks his shot. He is going to hit A. So that's going to happen, and he's going to get +1 damage. So that means he's going to do 7 damage potentially to the satellite. And remember, in a normal game, he would only be doing a base damage of 2, which would have turned into 3. So 7 damage is brutal. But thankfully, the satellite has 40 hit points. So I'm shuffling the enemy deck right now. So we know he's going to try to do 7 damage. He is going to hit the satellite, or he's shooting at the satellite. And so what we're going to do is we're going to draw this modifier card to see what modifies that 7 damage. He could completely miss. He can get a doubler. There's a lot of stuff that can happen here. So here we go. And we're going to draw the top card. He does not have advantage against this. Everything is front-facing for the satellite. So we're just going to draw one and only one card. And here we go. All right, so he got +2. So the rules for him is the same as for us. Even though there's multiple enemies, they all use the same deck. This is going to go in the discard, and it won't get shuffled back in until we draw a miss or a ×2. And it has to be the miss or the ×2 that has the symbol for reshuffling. So, so he did 9 damage instead of just 7 to the satellite. So the satellite, as you can see here, has 40. And I'm just going to take 1 off the 10 and put it on the 1 because we just did 9 damage. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so now it has 30, 40, 50, 1 hit points. So it went from, oh, hold on. We don't have that many hit points. We only have 40. So let me get rid of that. That was 30, 40, so now it has 31 hit points. So sorry for the bad math there. Okay, so these guys are deadly, and now we're gonna go to number 6, and this is the one I'm worried about, and I haven't been calculating in my head how this is gonna work, but I'm pretty darn sure he's hitting one of us. So well, who's his target? His target is going to be JB, even though this is closer, because he's facing this way. And you can see, like, he's shooting the wrong direction, right? JB is standing right behind him. But JB is his target. Now, that doesn't mean he won't shoot anybody else. It just means JB is the target. So right now, he has to rotate. So this is the part that gets a little nebulous in the rules, because he could rotate. When he rotates, he only can move 2 spaces. So he can go 1, 2, and rotate like that. Or he can go 1, 2, and rotate like that. And so now some people might argue, well, hold on a second, wouldn't he just rotate 1 so he could shoot Starla? And the answer is no, because Starla was not the target. Okay, the target is whoever's closest, and the closest was JB. So let's assume that he rotates like this, because I think that would be the better of the 2 options for the AI. Because had he rotated like this, then he's putting his rear end in front of Starla. By doing this, he's at least protecting his rear end, okay? So then he's going to try to shoot after the rotation. And so we got to look at the pattern here, and it's going to go 1, 2, 3, and then 2 and 2. It just misses both of these guys because it's going to hit here and here, and then here. So all 3 of these are just outside of his range. And that's exactly how it plays, folks. Yes, if you were smart, you could rotate him just a tad bit different and he could have hit one of us. But the AI is the AI. You got to do exactly what it says. And some people complain about this, and I'm not sure why they do. The AI is play balanced to miss sometimes, and that's exactly what occurs here. Okay, so then it's going to perform its move action. And remember, it's going to move to the right twice and then rotate. So his right is this direction. So he wants to move here and here, but he can't because we're in the way. Now, if Andrew wasn't there, he could have moved here, but that's not the case. And don't worry, folks, he's going to get to shoot, and he's actually going to shoot JB here. So then he can't perform his movement, but he will do the rotation part of the movement, so he would have ended up like that. Okay, and so then after he does his movement, he's then going to rotate again, and the target is still JB, because JB's next to him, but this time he's going to get his target, because he's going to rotate once and then rotate twice, and now he's facing JB directly. He does not have advantage because he's in JB's front three areas, and so he will shoot, and he only hits one target, and so that target's going to be JB, even though Andrew is also a potential target. So he will shoot, and he gets a +1 against JB. So again, just looking, 2 + 4 is 6 + 1. This is a base of 7 damage to JB. We're in trouble, actually. Let me... So let's see, JB, I'm looking at his... Where are you at, JB? He has 1 shield and 8 hull. So he has 9 total health points. And this attack is going to do 7 damage, potentially. So let's see what happens. All right, it gets a +1, so it's going to do 8 damage to JB. Now, there's 2 ways to resolve this. Let's move this camera over to JB's board and talk about it. Okay. So I have to hold the camera a little bit because JB's board is near the edge of my table. But there's 2 ways to resolve this. One, we could just take the 8 hits. So the shield would go down first. So there's 1, and then 7 more would put him down to just 1 health remaining. That's one way to do it. And we may do that. The other way is his special weapon or his burn and flip. We can take his engine and damage it, which means it's out for the rest of the mission. It automatically repairs at the end of the mission. You'll see some comments on Board Game Geek that they want to make it so you have to pay to repair it or whatever, but that's not the rules. The rules are you can damage a piece of your equipment and then that absorbs all the hits. So, so there's no actual hits done to, my apologies, JB needs stim packs here. Okay, so this absorbed all 8 damage. So JB stays at full health. He just no longer has burn and flip. He can't use burn and flip anymore. And when you're going to play hard mode, you're going to have to deal with this a bit. And yes, it is a this whole mechanic of losing your engine or your weapon is it completely absorbs a hit, and it's the only way you're going to survive a mission like this. I mean, with 7 damage each time, it's brutal. When you play in normal mode, obviously you still have the option to do that, and I can tell you that Josh and I have done it many times where we damaged an engine or damaged a weapon in order to avoid a hit. Usually that occurs whenever they draw a ×2 multiplier. But I can tell you that in normal mode, this guy would have only done 3 damage, and I would have easily just taken the 3 damage against my hull and my shields, and JB would have been fine. He, 3 damage out of 9, yeah, that's 1/3 of the way, but he could easily absorb that. But this time around, I'm not going to absorb anything. I'm going to keep him at full health, and the fact that number 6 was alive with just 1 hit point, we paid a big price for that. So I hope that makes sense, and this card is officially done. We have removed all the scouts, so now we move on to the frigate. And the frigate is way back here. He is nowhere near anybody. I have no inclination that he's actually going to hit something, but let's draw his card. And the first thing he will do is find his target. His target is going to be the satellite. So he's going to stay facing south because that's the direction towards the satellite that matches best. Otherwise, he's 2 away this way, but he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 away, or 4 away this way. So he's going to stay south. Then he tries to shoot, and you can see that his shooting is going to be 3 spaces in front of him, but it's armor piercing, meaning it ignores all shields, and he will only hit 1 target for a +0. But there's nobody in his range to shoot, and then here you can see he's moving right as well, with that same exact movement action as the other guy. So he will move right, and then rotate like that. So now he's 1, 2, 3, 4 away, and 1, 2 away this way. So the closest rotation is actually to stay this way. And after he moves, he tries to rotate again, which he won't. And then he tries to shoot, which nobody's in front of him, so he doesn't do anything. So frigate is done. And there you have it. That's the enemy move. So everything is done for them. Now, should I have taken the hit with JB? Part of me feels like maybe I should have. I could repair with him, which would repair 2 hull damage. But I guess I am nervous. We got 5 of these ships that are really, really difficult to take down. And we've just proven that they can really nail us hard. And if JB gets hit again, he only has 1 more block he can do, which is his proton blast. And then after that, he has no choice but to take the damage and then eventually get KO'd. So yeah, that's a real. This is definitely hard, a lot harder. And I got to be really careful. And it's hard to be careful because you have to kill these things. So, all right, let's move on to the next round. Well, before we move on, I did realize that when you block damage in this kind of way, it does increase your stress by 1. So JB is up to 2 stress. Okay, at this point, everybody would get 1 shield, but JB would have been the only one to get a shield, but we blocked all the damage, so he's at full shield strength, and we have to roll. So this is Violet Ray. Actually, let's just put the camera down. This is JB. And we're getting some nice, healthy rolls here. What I mean by unhealthy rolls is I sometimes get people who roll 4 damage dice or 4 move dice, which are, those are brutal when you get that situation. And here we go. Here's the situation, look at that. So we rolled 3 move dice and only 1 attack die. This is for Giardan. And the 1 attack die means that Giardan can't do his stun on 2 enemies. He can only stun 1. And so that is not good. That's not good at all. Giardan is the 1 person that we need. So we can see here, you need 2 attack dice to be able to stun 2 people. So not good. All right, I have to pause. I'm going to pause the recording real quick, and I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. While I was on pause, I thought of 2 things. One of them is a retcon option, which technically I shouldn't be doing because I've already rolled the dice and saw what my next roll is going to be. But I think I'm going to retcon my decision to block the damage. And there's a reason I'll explain. But the other part is, if you're within 4 spaces of the Sparrow, then the enemy would have been disadvantaged, but we were 5 away. So one of the things I wanted to check was, you know, did we, and of course, the Sparrow, I knocked it down 12 times. Yeah, he's in the right spot. Okay. If the Sparrow was just 1 space further up, we would have been within range that the enemy would have been disadvantaged, which means we would have drawn a 2nd card, and then he would have had to choose the worst of the 2 cards. So if you get too far away from the Sparrow, then they're not disadvantaged anymore, which is what happened here. So he is going to take the damage, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the engine the way it is. And my attitude is that I basically get 2 free shots, right? I can block being hit twice. Then after that, it's game over, man, right? You know, because you're going to have to absorb all the hits. So I might as well absorb the hit first and then use those 2 free spots later when I really absolutely have to, because it's going to prevent me from death, or in this game, it's unconsciousness. So I would have taken it down, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So he's down to just 1. And then at the beginning of this turn, we would have gained 1 shield. Now, part of the reason I said I'm not supposed to have looked at the dice yet is the logic of this is that this guy, number 6, only has 1 health left. So I only need to do a very basic attack that just does 1, oh, sorry for the bouncing, only does 1 damage here. And if I did that, then I can still kill him, and then I can use the other 3 dice to repair. So because I wasn't supposed to know that I had the dice to pull that off, I'm just gonna roll again. And there we go. And I still got a really good roll for doing what I want to do. In fact, the only thing that would ruin my day is if I had 4 moves there. All right, 1 second, I got to... Okay, so apologies there. I got a text message I had to respond to. Hopefully that didn't screw up my audio, which is usually what happens in this situation. I have definitely had some audio issues with this game. Okay, so it is our turn. We've increased our shields by 1. I chose to have JB take the damage, and now I bumped my camera again. Boy, I am just not having a good day. I probably should just end this video here because I'm really worried that my audio or something went out and I'm going to be talking for the next 20 minutes and you won't be able to hear anything. So anyways, if you can hear me, I'm going to go ahead and end the video, and then we're going to resume the next round with JB going first, and then Starla maybe, because we for 1 damage, and I want to do that with JB, and then of course put JB under repair. So that's the plan, and thanks for watching. As always, stay awesome.